Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Community Voices with SDN. I'm your host today, Sudesh Tamata. I'm also your favorite ambassador, and will be introducing to you our amazing guests. So, joining us today, we have Thomas, who is our beloved instructor from the Service Design Practitioners course, and our recent graduates who've just finished the course and want to share about their amazing experience with us. So let's bring them on stage and
Hi, hi everyone. Hi, everyone.
hello everyone.
Hi everyone.
Thank you for joining us today. So let's start off with a little bit of introduction, self-introduction. Thomas, can I ask you to start us off?
Sure. Good morning from Chicago. I've been chapter lead here in Chicago since 2017. I've been involved with the Service Design Network Academy for the last 3 years and been teaching the practitioner's curriculum a little over 2.5 years. And I really enjoy learning and alongside with the community and also just introducing people and who want to learn about service design. And yes, I'm happy to be here today.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Thomas. Appreciate your wonderful introduction. Now I'm going to throw it to Katie.
Hi everyone. I'm Katie. I'm another ambassador and just completed the practitioner course, which was really fun. And it was a great experience.
Awesome. Ashok?
Hi everyone. I probably have the longest name in this session. So my name is Ashok Chakravarti Kurkolu. I'm originally from India, but I moved to Italy over a decade ago. I started with as a simulation engineer, then later transitioned to the project manager roles in the automotive industries. But after spending many years in this field, I strongly pull towards something into innovation and design thinking. So I made a big decision to do my master's in strategic design for innovation and transformation in Politecnico di Milano. While going through this master's, I realized that I wanted to go beyond the theory and really understand how to apply design in real world context. So, what led me to join the service design practitioner curriculum with Thomas. Um, Before that, I already taken part into a small cohort session with Mark for a journey management session. Right now, I just wrapped the design course, service design course, and also closing to finish my master's. So I'm looking forward for exploring opportunities where I can combine my project manager skills and my passion for design and innovation.
All right. Um, Perfect. Thank you so much, Ashok. Kemi, you go next. You're on mute. So
Yeah.
yes, go ahead.
Can you hear me now? Hi everyone, my name is Kemi, and I live and work in the northwest of England. I work for a social housing provider. My introduction to the SDN has been actually years. I think I've been on the sideline. Um, think of me as that child with the nose stuck at the candy, window and wondering, wow, the lucky people that get to be in there. And in one of my previous employment, I actually worked with service designers, and I really wanted to become one because I wanted to marry service design with my work as a design researcher because I think they work so well hand in hand. But I was unable to for a variety of reasons. But last year, all the stars aligned. The finance came through, the date was perfect, and there was just no other perfect time. So I jumped in, and it's been a wonderful experience in terms of learning. When you learn something and it just gives you a lot of aha, that just makes so much sense. So yeah, that's been my experience on the course so far.
That is incredible. So thank you for some of you for sharing like how you started to, even get involved with SDN, learn about the course and things like that. I'm really curious actually. Thomas, can you tell us how did the course start and what was some of like the motivations and has it changed over the years?
Yeah, so I when I first started, actually, I went through the certification process to become a master's um, practitioner, and yeah, I was in touch with Birgit, and yeah, she invited me to co-teach with her this course in the beginning, and so I really enjoyed that experience. I was teaching already before service design at the university, but this is when I'm in the service design network, it's a much wider community of people to engage with in service design. And so, yeah, I've been teaching it ever since then. Yeah, that was the second cohort, I believe. And now we're already moving into the 12th cohort of the curriculum class.
And that's incredible that you first like got your certification and then you started teaching a lot of the people here. And what do you have to, I guess, a side question, what do you have to say about this cohort that you recently finished teaching?
I mean, I would say that I can tell everybody's, they're starting, they either, sometimes people have day jobs and they have other things going on, but everybody seems so fresh and excited coming into the classroom and asking a lot of questions. So there was a lot of good discussions. I always had a challenge to try to stay on task of trying to get as much of the material through, but it was always good, challenging questions. Everybody's very curious, which I think is key. There's people took full advantage of asking questions when I said ask any question you want any time during the process. So yeah, I enjoyed that aspect.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Thomas. So, why don't Katie, Ashok, and Kemi tell me what are some of the questions you asked and you were like, aha, that's amazing. I did not know that's how it was done moments that you had during the course?
I don't know if this is necessarily a question because I do have a slightly bad memory, but I just remember like going through the course and then obviously you like give us the theory behind the different stages, and then like to certain things you instantly see the value of that process, and then like for me personally, like seeing like because it's a practical course, which is what I really liked about it. Like we get that side of the theory, and then like you tell us, right, go and do this thing, like the user interviews and actually testing it, like testing our concepts and our ideas with real people. And I think one thing that stood out to me was not seeing the value or like as much value in doing like low-fi prototype testing with users, and then just having this like aha moment and being like, oh my god, I got so much value from this thing. And just really also being in the weekly sessions with everyone. I think each person like understands the different concepts differently, and being able to bounce ideas off each other and hear other people's questions, it makes you think about things differently. So yeah, I think like those like interactions were extremely valuable for me personally.
That is amazing. Ashok, Kemi, want to add something to that?
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to add, like as Katie mentioned, we were asking also questions about the user interviews, how many questions we should ask, what questions do we ask. So we were asking also about the prototypes. So how far we can go for the prototypes, because now we have AI, so we can build the prototype and also test it. So we were asking a lot of sets of questions to Thomas actually.
I think for me, like there were a lot of intelligent questions. I know during the journey mapping, I'm not sure if I really asked questions then, because I have used journey mapping in my work as a researcher, and also it's been really useful in bringing people who don't really know anything about design along on a journey when I introduced it to my company and showed them how it works. But when we had that class, I realized that my own, well, because they didn't know anything about it, but my own journey map was very, very basic, and that, you know, customer journey mapping can be so much more than what I thought it was. My other questions came when we did the service blueprinting, because for me that's always been the magical unknown part of service design. When I worked with them and they would draw all these diagrams, and I was like, my brain cannot just comprehend. But in the class, I'm glad that Thomas took us through the basics, because then it was like, you know, you just need to look at this and that, and it helped to also have, like Ashok said, and Katie, to have that group of people. Sorry, there's a fire alarm test going on here. And bounce ideas off. I love that, being in a team and realizing that it's not just you don't have to do all the heavy lifting, right? So that was one of the best parts for me, having this intelligent group of people to work with and realizing that you're not alone.
Yeah. Definitely. And that is so important, just having the whole cohort come together and kind of think through these different challenges. Just to maybe give a little background to everyone, our challenge was we started off with bikeability and walkability as our conversation. And that was interesting too. Thomas, how did you end up picking this topic? Is it the same for all cohorts? And how do you like guide us kind of through the process?
You know, it evolved a few times. I mean, there was a few cohorts that did the same challenge, but I think there's a plenty there for people to actually take their own perspective on it. So it's always been interesting to see one class to the next on how they deliver a solution to it. I originally, years ago, I co-taught with urban planner about walkability in Chicago, and I'm passionate about walkability. And I think bikeability is very complementary to that. If you have a bikeable and walkable environment, especially in urban environments, it makes the city more alive, more engaged for people that live there and people who visit.
It's true. Thank you for sharing with us the backstory. I think we were very curious. How did you even come to pick this challenge for us? I'm also going to ask one more question in terms of from a teaching point of view. Like when you shifted from service design doing to service design teaching, how did the subject or the mindset evolve for you?
I mean, I think one of the things that you're often, especially if you're a designer or even service design, you have to do a lot of collaborative work with a lot of different teams, and you have to work with a lot of non-designers. So I had to learn how to break things down simply of what I was going to do and how I was going to invite people along. And teaching is along the same way. You're trying to educate people along the way, and you're just trying to think about different ways of breaking the content down to make it digestible for people. And keep it open enough where you're not dictating things for them, where it has a certain amount of openness for them to use critical thinking skills to evaluate and move forward.
Amazing. That is such an important point, like breaking it down for people who are not familiar with design terms. Has anyone else like faced this challenge when you're using design principles with the people that you've been working with?
100%. I mean, that's basically been my career. It's like really nice when you get to talk to another designer. You can be like, just talk with your hands and all these nice terms. But yeah, like I think it's such a overlooked part. You know, like when you're like a student or something, or you know, I think it's something which is often lacking from being like a degree, you know, like university student. Those critical thinking skills and like working with people outside of your like field, and you know, it's the same for everyone, whether you're an accountant or a designer. Like we have to talk to each other, which can be hard for both people. So I like that. That was like reinforced as well within this course, because it's like the key, right, to getting things actually done, to like have that collaboration across different fields. And yeah, I mean, I come from a fashion background, and so like design in the early days, shall we say, was all about like the visual design, but designing, the processes, designing the communication, and like all those different steps, like the interactions. I like to think of it as like those in between moments. Like you have like maybe design here, and I do accounting again here, and like how do we bridge that gap? So yes, very, very. I think it's probably relatable for everyone in the audience as well.
Yeah. No, I also have the background of automotive industries, project management, and very less in the design field. So I relate to Katie also. So it was luckily for me, I have a master's, which is a strategic design, which gives the theory part, and I could connect the dots when I'm doing this course actually. So to apply design real world context. So basically, with all the tools they have provided, it's not to understand how learning about the tools, but how and when to use them effectively, which helped me actually to give some clarity and confidence.
Um, in terms of background, my background has been quite winding. I'm a lawyer that went into advertising and then switched to strategy, and then went into research, design research, and now wanting to get into service design. And one thing that you quickly realize in every industry is that they all have their jargons, and if you are so lost in that world, you just begin to use jargons with people, and it may sound smart, but you are not connecting or communicating. Like Kathy said, it's nice when you're talking to somebody who understands and say, oh yeah, the personas, and then the customer journey, and the blueprints, they understand what you're saying. But when you're working with people who their everyday job is to talk to other people or do things that have nothing to do with service design or design thinking, you have to start looking for those words that convey what you mean without like patronizing them. I think in the class it was good because Thomas keeps using a word, he keeps saying process, and that's exactly what it was. It was a process. You started with, you might have known something about personas or journey maps, but then you then had to translate it into things that people could understand. So for me, it reinforced some things I'd learned before. It gave me better understanding of some things. And because I work, like I said, in a context where design is really new, I had to learn how to use the words that would connect with my colleagues. When we did the final assignment and all that, there was a question about design maturity, which actually threw me, at the first until I went to read up on it. And I realized that, design is exciting, but it is hard work because it needs commitment. So right now, taking my organization through it, we are at the stage where we're using words like personas and, like I said, journey maps. I haven't even brought in blueprinting yet, so don't let me rock the boat. But I'm hoping to be able to sort of embed design thinking. But from all the case studies and stuff that I've read, and even this design maturity thing, it's not going to be easy. But it's good to have those tools that the course has given us and see how to, translate it into everyday use and everyday language.
There's so many amazing topics that we covered. We covered some of the tools that we use in service design. We talked about design maturity and how interdisciplinary service design is and it can be used. Because even I came from a background of computer science. And when I made that switch, I felt like, hey, people around me were mostly in technical and business areas and they don't really understand this. And Thomas, I think that was the most incredible thing. I felt like I had a new language to actually talk to these people finally, and they would be able to hear what I'm saying in a way that they can process it. So that was really incredible. I am curious, like, so many of us are, say, from different non-design or design professions that are like in alignment. So fashion design is a little different, but it still uses the design process. So Thomas, do you see people in the course mostly who are transitioning, or is it more for beginners? How would you describe it?
I would just say it's quite a mix. There's people coming in from a variety of backgrounds. They can be from the sciences, business backgrounds. People might have marketing backgrounds. Some people might have a tangential design background or research background. So there's quite a variety of people in the course, which lends itself to like trying to shape the teams and trying to figure out how I can make a very rounded team, which is nice. Not everybody with similar backgrounds.
That is incredible. Oh, so you actually like look at everyone's background and then kind of put them together in a way that it balances it out.
Yeah, I try. It's a combination of trying to get people in the same time zones because we are a very global group, and you have to meet outside of class, and so balancing out with the time zones and various in the backgrounds and just having diversity in the team besides having what backgrounds they are. So yeah, me and Marie, always very conscious of like trying to make the teams rounded.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And you mentioned time zones. Actually, there were so many people from our group. I remember we're having one interview in New York, one in Vietnam, and then I know it's similar for all of you, Katie and Ashok, Kemi as well. Talk to me a little bit about how did you manage that, and how was it working across such a global, diverse team?
I was quite fortunate in my team because we're a team of 4. Three of us were in the UK, although different parts, and our 4th team member was in Lima, Peru. But what I really like about the team that I worked with is that we all committed to the task. And so because we all, even though we're in the same time zone, we all had such disparate work, like somebody was available during the working day. I wasn't available during the working day. Somebody was available at a certain time, but we all made that sacrifice, and said, okay, we would meet at this time. And our team member who is in Peru, Joanna, because by the time we want to meet, it's like morning for her, like early morning. And so she made that sacrifice. She'd be like, yeah, I'll be there. So it helped that everybody made that sacrifice to be at team meetings and to pull together. So I think that also contributed to us doing the work quite easily because we weren't carrying anyone along. We weren't like struggling to pull people. But I also think it owed mainly to the fact that everybody who attended that course wanted to be there. It wasn't like your company forced you and said, if you don't do it, you're not going to get promoted. Everybody wanted to be there. And so even though it was hard, like I was incredibly busy during the entire weeks that we had them, people wanted to be there, and that really helped.
Right. That sounds enriching. Ashok.
Yeah, I mean, as Thomas said, so diversity is the main key. So we have diverse team actually. So, but luckily the location of people from our group is within the Europe and the UK. So the time zone is very common for us. So that was luckily good for us. But big shout out to our team actually. So they were respectful. They were kind. They gave their opinions. We all respected our opinions. We coordinated each other, reaching out to others, and if they have any help, require any help, or reaching to others. So we coordinated in such a way. So we programmed twice a week to have the meeting and understanding to what other things to be done, and slowly moving on, breaking down the work in bits and pieces, and then doing each of them and combining them during the meeting. So that really helped us actually. So they do. I mean, our team has also diverse background also, so that already helped us actually. One is from UX and UI, one is from insurance, one is from automotive, and the other one is from software. So we have diverse perspectives, so that really took good ideas also to implement them.
Yeah, it's such a diverse cohort. Like we had people of different design maturity, had people with different backgrounds, and then also uh, just different geographical areas. So like you're already seeing that how we can like work together and really come up with solutions. I think that was really cool in general. I know that there's 5 more minutes, so I'd love to just shout out to everyone who's watching us. And if you have any questions, please type it in the chat. We'd love to take questions. And as I'm doing that, I'm gonna just start us off. So type in your questions and just like tell us 3 words that kind of reflect your experience of the course to kind of tie up this conversation. Katie, can I ask you to get started with that?
3 words to sum up the course. Wow, putting me on the spot. It was
Spot.
yeah. Oh, the pressure. I'm not good with brevity. What can I say? It was exciting. It was informative and collaborative. So just to touch on like the previous comment as well, I think it was really amazing actually how much diversity we had in the overall course cohort, and just hearing the different perspectives. Obviously different countries have like wildly different culture and like current states, and to hear those different perspectives and stuff was amazing. So yeah, I forgot what I said already, but informative. It was it was a lot of work, but it was like really such a positive experience.
All right. Kemi, I see you're shaking your head, so you want to go next.
Actually wanted to adjust my glasses, but I think we're going to repeat a lot of what Katie said in terms of it was collaborative. I think for me, you used the word informed, but I think better informed will be for me. Like when you're looking at a business, you start thinking in terms of the service blueprint, like what's going on at the back end and like I've gone through an experience that, oh my goodness, and I'm seeing all the failings at the back end, and I'm like, this could be so much easier. So you have that awareness of what a business looks like, not just what you're experiencing, but what could be going on at the back. And in terms of the course, I think respectful, there was just that. It just shows that you can work with anyone if you put your mind to it. I'd never met my teammates before, and I think the fact that we were able to work so well together was great. It made the course so much easier. So it really helps. It was collaborative, it was respectful, it was friendly, it was awareness, breaking. So yeah. And I'm stealing Katie's word and adding curiosity.
All right.
So yeah, you had to be curious too. Yeah.
Ashok, what are you doing? +1, 2, and adding.
Yeah, I agree. So, I mean, for me, it was like empowering actually because it has gave me some confidence to apply the design in the real world settings. For example, I never interviewed before, so or had any co-creation sessions before. So this gave me confidence in me. So that is one thing. The second one would be practical because everything we learned was on hands-on and directly applicable. And the third thing should be, I mean, it should be like a transformative because it changed how I see design, not just tools, but also the way of thinking and working.
Amazing. Thank you all for sharing your experience. And now we have 1 more minute, and I'm going to say hi to Edgar and Curry who are joining us on LinkedIn. They've just said hi. So, Thomas, for your question, maybe we'll do something a little different. And you can, of course, say the 3 words that define your experience, but I want to know what's a question that you wish we asked you about this course and we don't, and answer that.
I mean, there's wow, that's I don't necessarily, I guess, say there's a particular question that I would say that maybe what's next in service design. It could have been a question that could have been asked in the class at some point. That could be a discussion point. Where do I go next type of thing on a personal level. It could be that. But, all these questions can be asked to me anytime. You can reach out to me and we can have a conversation. So I always invite any of you and anyone in the cohort to reach out to me to have one-on-ones if you want to continue the conversation outside the course.
Yeah, and I think that's a great question for also our LinkedIn audience and everyone joining us. So, what's next in service design? Put all your comments, put your answers in the comments, and we'll take that and hopefully have more discussions around it. So we have our next batch of the Service Design Practitioners course that is also coming up, which is May 8th. And if you haven't already signed up, this is your cue. You need to sign up right now because this was an incredible course. And as you've heard all our experiences, it really helped us learn so much about service design, apply it to our field. It was super hands-on. And we really got to meet a lot of people, hear diverse perspectives, and grow our horizons wherever we are. Any last words from my amazing group today as we close this session?
I'm going to jump in quickly and just say, Thomas asked those are really, really lovely questions, like what's next for service design and all that. But I think we're all just still trying to grasp it and how huge it is, and how we can apply it to our companies before we then say, okay, how do I, take next steps here? So I am really looking forward to introducing it into my organization and see it shape some things, and hopefully be back in the next few months to learn something more, to take back. So, yeah.
I can add as well.
Yeah,
I think Thomas, like, you really made us feel like, yeah, it is a huge topic, obviously, service design, but it was very practical how you approached it, and you broke it down, and there's a lot of context to service design. So I think we're all in very different spaces, but it's applicable, and that context, you made it digestible.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
would like. Sorry. No, sorry. Okay. No, I just want to add that please don't wait until you feel ready. I think you will learn by doing it. So go it with the open mind, actually, and ready to unlearn it. Actually, don't bring your biases to the course, actually. So, so be open as you are, and grasp all the information from the course and from other course students, and then you'll have a wonderful experience.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. And it's been a pleasure. See you and have these continue these conversations and discussions in the chat, in our classrooms, and on our Community Voices channel. Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.